There is something cosmic governing the movement of the Houston Rockets.
That just shows they're in it together.
Okay, but the shorts, man. Paul, the shorts?
Hey, it's Houston. It's hot down there this time of the year. They look like silk, too. They look silk.
Looks a little silk pajama-ish. That might be more information than we needed about James Harden. Welcome to The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols. We have our insider, Kevin Arnovitz, back. And fresh off a plane from New York, your 2008 Finals MVP, the future Hall of Famer, Paul here.
Oh, it's always good to be here.
Good. See, you can tell he's fresh because he's much more nicely dressed than usual. Clothes you got with you.
Yep, this is what I'm good with.
So LeBron James thinks he can do anything. I mean, he doesn't think he can sprout wings and fly, at least I don't think he does. But within the confines of a basketball court, LeBron sees no limits. No shot he can't take or block, no deficit he can't rebound from, no strain on his body he can't handle. For most of the time, this is a very good thing for the Cavaliers, who would turn out to need an actual superhuman effort from LeBron just to eke out of the first round. Seriously, in those 7 games against Indiana, the man dropped more than 40 points 3 separate times and played 288 total minutes of basketball. That is 86% of the amount of time it was even possible for him to be on the court. He also scored or assisted on 59% of the Cavaliers' total baskets, and he did it from practically every spot on the floor. Again, there is nothing James doesn't think he can do. But there are a few times, and we saw it yesterday, when that confidence can get him into some trouble. LeBron looked unstoppable in the game's opening minutes, becoming the first player in 20 years to start a Game 7 shooting 7 for 7. And apparently, he felt unstoppable too, because the cameras caught him saying, "Whole game, I'm playing the whole game," which I get, it fits into the mythology of what we want from our superstars. But you didn't need a physiology degree to foresee what that would most likely lead to. I mean, all series, we have been watching LeBron need to exert so much effort early that he has been measurably tired and flagging late. As in, actually measurable by the cameras that track players around the court. So wasn't torquing that up further in Game 7, trying to play all 48, just asking for trouble? It turns out the answer was yes, as some cramping in his legs forced LeBron to the locker room with about a minute to go in the third. At that moment, he had scored more than half the Cavs' points, and losing him for any length of time seemed like a certain death knell for Cleveland. It was shocking then, as LeBron was trying to right himself on the bench with fluids and orange slices, to see the rest of the Cavaliers actually step up and extend the team's lead. And the question now, as the Cavs have to turn almost right around and play a Toronto team that will have had 3 days rest, is whether the other guys on the Cavs roster can play like that again, this time more reliably and more often. Because I know LeBron thinks he can do anything and everything, but I can't see a way that will work against the Raptors, who have been salivating all season for exactly this kind of series. This Toronto team has an elite all-star backcourt, a bench as deep as the ocean, and even a rookie, an OG Anunoby, who is tops in the league at stopping the exact kind of drives to the basket LeBron used to get by the Pacers. And by the way, LeBron couldn't even begin prepping for any of that last night. Here is what he had to say when asked about Toronto.
I'm burnt right now. I'm not thinking about Toronto right now until tomorrow. I'm ready to go home. I'm tired. I want to go home. So.
Now, I'm sure by the time we see him again at shoot-around tomorrow, he will be fired back up, declaring himself ready to go. But LeBron always thinks that. It would be good for Cleveland if the rest of the Cavs can borrow a little of that I-can-do-anything confidence, so LeBron doesn't need his quite so much. Paul, there was a lot of wear and tear on LeBron in that first round. Do you think that, I mean, they're talking in Cleveland like, oh, look, Game 7, these guys finally stepped up, they've gelled, they're ready for that series. Do you have faith that the team's deep enough to help him out?
No, I don't have faith that the team is deep enough. But then again, what LeBron has done in this postseason, what he's done over the course of his career, you can't put anything past him. You know, he single-handedly carried them past the Pacers when you thought the Pacers, after Game 1, would probably win the series. They looked that good. You know, I don't think he's had much help, but, you know, I'm sitting back here and I'm just going to appreciate the greatness of LeBron James because I'm not putting anything past him anymore. You know, before I doubted, but just watching him over these last few years, he's enough. He's enough.
I'm so glad this is being recorded on television because you saying this is a landmark event.
I've been going back and forth, but, even though he doesn't have the supporting cast, he's enough to beat you and the Toronto Raptors.
Right. So we know that there is a level of deficiency. Like me and 3 of my friends could not probably, bolster the Cavs enough for them. The question is, where is that line, right? I mean, silver lining. We saw last night, I thought that stretch when he was gone was important symbolically and substantively to watch those guys, revert. It was a 3-point lead turned into a 9-point lead, and I might have that wrong. That was really important. I also thought, look, making use of Tristan Thompson, who probably will come in handy against Toronto. They played 2 conventional bigs, at least to start the game. And to see him, he is probably still their best screener. He got 5 extra possessions on the offensive glass. Like, there's enough margin there where, can you get that? Watching George Hill get to the line. The guy needed 5 epidurals or 1 epidural and 4 other things. But can these guys just make use of their strengths? Can Larry Nance bring the energy? Can Hill manufacture enough points and assists? Can Thompson be useful even though he kind of compromised them in terms of stretch? I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to stick with his.
Wow. All right.
I mean, you watch him, and he's logging all these minutes, but if there's one guy that can do it, it's him. I mean, he's one of the most well-conditioned athletes of this generation. I mean, my hat's off to him.
So I'm going to give you credit here, Paul, because of all the guys we've had rotate on this show in the past few weeks, you were the only one who said of the first round, your prediction was Cavs in 7. You were the only one who stretched that to 7 games and said the Cavs would win. So are you picking the Cavs again for this series?
I think it's going to be a long series again, and I think the Cavs will win in 7. Now, Toronto, they have to win this early because when you get into these long runs with LeBron, especially at this age, he knows how to conserve his energy. I watched Game 6. He played well, and it got to the point that he was like going to blow out, and it looked like it was like, you know what, we're just going to rest for Game 7. You guys got this. We're in it for the long run. We'll get you in 7. And that's what it looks like. He's pacing himself. Even though he's logging a lot of minutes, it looks like a marathon to him, and he can get you in the long run.
All right, we will continue to address that series coming up, especially with the Toronto angle later in the show. But I want to catch the Pacers because they gave the Cavs everything they could handle, right? They outscored the Cavs by 40 points across the series. Here is what Pacers president of basketball operations, Kevin Pritchard, tweeted out yesterday. Quote, "Trust me, words cannot express my gratitude for this team. Has been a joy to watch them grow together. So many amazing moments both on and off the court. So proud to be a Pacer." This is fascinating to me because you have a team that was eliminated in the first round. And we will talk on the show about a few other teams eliminated in the first round where it feels like a crushing disappointment. But in this case, was this a moral victory for Indiana?
Without a doubt. Before the season, I didn't even have Indiana in the playoff radar.
Right.
I mean, it just looked like once they got rid of Paul George, we're rebuilding. They got Sabonis. They got Oladipo, which became an all-star. Sabonis looked like he's one of the better 6 men or possibly starters in the league. And they made the playoffs, and they pushed Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games and could have beat them. So they're ahead of the curve right now from what people expected them before the season started.
Absolutely. I mean, look. Unless you believe that the only successful standard for the Pacers was winning a championship, look, teams exist over a life cycle. And where are they in that life cycle? They found a franchise player within months of relinquishing one.
Yeah. Right.
That's unheard of in this league generally. I mean, this was supposed to be a retool. I think I had them at 28 wins. Right? Like it was an incredibly and inordinately successful season for them. They ended up being a much better defensive team than I think we all thought. Oh, Nate McMillan, he plays slow ball, like he did in Portland. I mean, they reinvented an offense. I mean, they are so far beyond their trajectory.
Yes.
I think at the end of the year, if we rank 30 teams who most exceeded expectations, I mean, they'll be in the top 2 or 3 easily.
Yes.
And particularly, you mentioned Victor Oladipo. It's crazy. First of all, just his attitude toward this series. I loved him after Game 5 when everyone was like, oh, okay, the Cavs won Game 5. I guess you guys are out. And he was like, you still need 4 wins to win a series, right? We're not done yet. The way he continued to attack, I think the way that team continued, even when they looked down in fourth quarters, continue to attack was due to him and his will and his skill. And, of course, also we have seen how he has remade himself physically over the last calendar year. He has credited Russell Westbrook with kind of teaching him how to do that. He also has a trainer in David Alexander who works with a lot of NBA players. And his trainer posted this amazing screenshot of their text on Instagram. Oladipo apparently reached out to him about getting back to work.
Spell his name right.
Well, he did mention that in the post. He said that that when he first put Vic's name in his phone, he transposed it, and then as kind of an inside joke, he's kept it that way ever since. But this was a text to him like 3 minutes, basically, after he got back to the locker room.
He ain't working the copy desk. Let's give the guy a break, all right? Like, okay.
You know, I feel that because as a young player, when I had just got that first taste of success, my first playoff series, it was like once it ended, it was like, oh, man, I want more. I was in the gym the next day,
Really?
so I understand what he's saying. Even after we won the championship, a week later, I was back in the gym. When you taste that success as a player, you want more of it. He got a great taste. He's probably going to be the most improved player in the league. He made an all-star team. He feels it now. He feels now is his time. So your prime is only going to last so long. He wants to get back in the gym because he feels like he could be a lot better.
Yeah, we talk about organizational culture, and you know, we often focus on the GM or the coach or Brad Stevens. At the end of the day, it's the best player on the team, right? Like that's the guy who it seems most notably can set a tone in a culture.
Without a doubt. And when other guys see that, it's an effect on them. So now the guy's like, oh, well, maybe we all need to get back in the gym. Our leader, I mean, this guy's all-star. He carries the 7 games. He's back in the gym the next day. You know what, guys, let's go with him. And that creates, like you said, a great culture for them moving forward.
Now, I saw you the day after you won your championship. I'm going to say that the day after you won your championship,
not the day
you were
after.
not back
Not
in the
after.
gym.
A
That
week
is not
later
what I
I
remember
was.
about
A
you.
week.
But yes, very soon after that. I give you that all the time. All right,
Not a day after.
There was other stuff going on. Coming up after a solid Game 1 performance, are the Warriors looking like title favorites again? But
Yes,
first,
they are.
our distant replay. This date in 1991, it's Mr. Michael Jordan.
MJ.
Can't go wrong with this.
Let's go. Who's going to dunk on?
Oh, poor producer Steve. It's against the Knicks. Oh,
Watch
that would be
your head,
against
Pat
Patrick Ewing.
Watch your head, Pat.
Where's the help?
Where's the help?
Oakley, cut off the baseline, baby. Woo.
Hi, Patrick.
It was so nice we got to run it twice.
Oh, yeah. You just got to sit down.
Man, we got the Bulls just dunked all over him. Scottie Pippen got a poster dunk on Pat. Man, I feel bad. But that's
Out the world's oldest known spider after
I like
it died.
It's the unknown spiders that'll get you.
I like it. Hey.
Respect to the OG spider.
To the baby spider, the new up-and-coming one.
That baby spider is poisonous. There's no question about it.
No
All right.
question about
This mistaken identity before Game 7. Celtics had former Pats quarterback Drew Bledsoe address the crowd from the Jumbotron
I love
and
it.
introduced himself as the original Bledsoe,
I love
trolling
it.
Eric Bledsoe. Mr. Boston?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, come on.
Drew Bledsoe, former quarterback of the New England
The
Patriots.
guy Tom Brady took his job.
Oh, man.
So, you got to watch your back. No, he was beloved in Boston.
Definitely
and
was.
really around the NFL for a long time. And to see him
Everybody
up there,
wanted to know who is Bledsoe, so they had to put him
they
on
had
the
to put up who is
Jumbotron.
Bledsoe. There you go. Make fist pumps. Check out this fan trying to give LeBron a high five, and then he played it off with a
Come
fist
on,
pump.
hey, he played it off good,
It's
though. Look.
it's about the pivot and the recovery.
Too cool to be embarrassed. Look, too cool to be embarrassed. That's what you got to. You got to.
Something to be embarrassed. We've got, the fist pump
You
is
got
good.
that tiger in him.
Right? It'll be fine. I think
All
people
right,
just
you
wanted to
played it
show
off-
Tiger
you played
video
it
in our
off
control
perfect.
room. I don't really know why this is. There we go.
Played that off
Play
perfect.
and
Hey. Nope.
fist bump. There you go.
There you go. Nope.
Right? This photos at halftime. Russell Westbrook had an incident with the fan. This was on
What you
Friday
talk about,
night
Willis?
as he walked into the tunnel.
What you talking about, Willis?
Another fan after
man.
the game as he walked into the tunnel.
Hey, Mr. Drummond, get him.
I mean,
What you talking about, Willis?
I had look at where the phone is, kind of right near his face. I had several players text me over the weekend and say, you cannot, after a guy has lost in a series, you cannot
God.
stick something that close into his personal
Oh,
space.
listen,
Do you agree with that?
he lost. He was frustrated. Oh man, I feel him on that. I feel him.
You know what?
I'm surprised he didn't grab it and like chuck it somewhere.
Someone did that earlier this year. Did not go so well for them. Make awareness after James Harden cooks Rudy Gobert for the layup.
Scott,
Watch Harden. Look at this. Watch Harden look at the camera. How did he find the camera?
As we saw early on, there is a cosmic force governing the movement of all
Hey, like,
Houston
did y'all
Rockets.
see that?
Come on. Look at him. Watch him. Yep. And then he's
players-
like, uh-huh.
players
But he
always
held it
know
long
the
enough
camera.
that you knew it was on purpose. He didn't just like glance over there. He was like,
Players know where that
Telepathy at
camera
work.
is. I'm
right?
telling you.
Harden dropping 41 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists in this Game 1 win over the Jazz.
Unguardable.
And look, Paul, the Jazz defense is what they've relied on all season. Gobert, a favorite to win defensive player of the year, and yet, how do they slow down Harden in Game 2?
You gotta take the ball out of his hand. You got to trap him at half court. We already are witnessing probably one of the best one-on-one players in the game. So when he has you at the top and he's doing all this dribbling, you got to run another trap at him. Let's see if some of these other guys can beat you. Yeah, CP, he'll be a recipient of it, and he can make plays, but you know, get the ball out of Harden's hands. I'm tired of seeing the numerous ISOs, the numerous pick and rolls at the top to where he's either doing a step back three or getting all the way to the hole. Get the ball out of his hands, you're going to give yourself the best chance. Like right here, you're on the island. There's nothing you can do. Listen, if P.J. Tucker can beat you, if Luke Mabaa can beat you, you got to see. You got to see. But Harden, we know he can beat you.
Right, it's interesting because the Jazz are not a team that enjoys trapping. They're one of these teams that says we stay out of rotations at all costs. We've got the guy back there who can take away the rim. And clearly that's what they're doing, which is, hey, look, you know what? We'll guard the rim. We will, you know, we're not going to switch up. I mean, we're going to basically just say, if you want to step back and beat us, you can step back and beat us. I'm with you. I actually prefer a blitz.
Yeah, obviously that hasn't worked all year long. They haven't beat Houston all year long in the regular season, and it didn't look close yesterday. The game is about adjustments. You can't be stubborn. You know, even though it worked so long, you can't be stubborn as a coach. Now, James is a different animal. It's a reason he's going to be MVP. So maybe you change your game plan up.
I mean, Russell Westbrook was the perfect matchup for Rudy Gobert, because what does Russell Westbrook like to do? Barrel to the basket. Yeah. What does Gobert do? Defend the basket.
Exactly.
Obviously, Harden is a much different situation for them, and I'm curious. Quinn Snyder's really good. I'm curious
he's been great this year.
They will release a live lion onto the floor. That is really
that will do it. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? So we saw what the Rockets can do in that game. They looked very tough to defend, and then we saw Warriors-Pelicans. It was a blowout, right? That second quarter, they just blew it open, right? Warriors waltzing their way, 22-point victory overall. And they did it without Steph. So, I don't know. You look at both of those games played this weekend, the Houston game, the Warriors game. Who is your title favorite again?
The favorite, I mean, 1A and 1B. I mean, what this tells me is it is just further evidence that the season is 6 weeks too long, that anything we detect as a vulnerability in March and April should be completely ignored because nobody cares. Again, the season is 22 games too long in this league, and those vulnerabilities are often just nothing but deception.
I mean, what you see is a team who's been to the finals 3 straight times. So those vulnerabilities that you saw during the regular season, they got bored with the process. Right. So like now when playoff comes, they have another level they can get to. They know they can press a button. I mean, they look awesome, especially without Steph. I didn't see that coming. You know, especially with the way the Pelicans have been playing. Anthony Davis looking like the best player in the league in that series versus Portland. And they just took it to him, so it's going to be scary when Steph comes back.
Are they your title favorites? Because I know you've given love to the Rockets.
To be the champs, you got to beat the champs, and so you're the favorite until you get knocked off.
Right.
You know, they're the champs, and they look great.
The other thing we forget is this was a top 3 defense each of the previous years. And no disrespect to Steph, but losing Steph doesn't necessarily compromise that. So when they want to be a top defensive team, they can.
They know how to do it.
And they have been this postseason.
And this is matchups, too, right? New Orleans had a good matchup against Portland. This is definitely not a good matchup or as good a matchup for them. Steph expected to try to come back in Game 2. And by the way, I'm used to seeing playoff Iggy, that he just changes his game and kind of joins us during the postseason. Playoff Draymond this year, he did not have his best regular season, but he has been great this postseason. Coming up, I sat down with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, and they did talk about matching up with the Cavs, because if you want to come out of the East, you got to go through LeBron. Hear what they had to say. You play the Cavaliers. What does that represent to you guys?
A great challenge. Great opportunity, play against a great team, to be able to, you know, have a rematch of years where, you know, we were down to them, you know, and that's, as a competitor, you always want that next opportunity to be able to redeem yourself. So, you know, that's how I look at it.
To be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's what you got to do, and that's what we're prepared for.
You guys had 2 key games against the Cavs down the stretch of the regular season. Did not win. What did you learn from those games?
That we can compete with anybody. I mean, we had chances to win those games. I mean, we had chances to win both games, you know. We just didn't play well. We just didn't finish.
You know, for 44 minutes out the game, you know, we play how we want to play, but, you know, them last few minutes, we just got to be able and understand and tighten it up, especially going against, you know, a great player like LeBron.
Well, that's what we hear from players. I've never played in a basketball game against LeBron James, but what we hear from other players is that there's a mental warfare aspect because he just kind of he keeps coming.
He's really good. I mean, I don't think it's that, we look at it as like he's going to keep coming, but you know how he's been to seven straight,
finals. 8 total, yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty impressive. He knows how to win. He knows how to win. So for us, we just got to know, we got to learn, and we've learned how to win. We've learned how to deal with situations. We've learned how to prepare ourselves to situations to make sure that we win.
Kyle and DeMar also on the cover of ESPN magazine this month, so be sure to check that out. Available now. And we heard what they had to say, guys, about this matchup with the Cavs. So, Paul, it's funny. Our producers told me in prep you were leaning Raptors, and then at the top of the show you leaned back to the Cavs.
Yeah,
who are you more confident in?
I'm just, like I said, just LeBron's greatness, it can't be overshadowed. I mean, right now we should all really appreciate what he's doing and what he has done. And, you can't put nothing past greatness. When you see it at the level that it's going at, this is something we need to appreciate. And it's going to be remembered for a long time. There's not going to be a player like this come along for a long time. And so it's tough for me to say, the Raptors, can they get over the hump? Yes, they do have more depth. Yes, they may be primed for a long playoff run, but when greatness is in your way, it has a way of reaching another level. And even though I don't think LeBron has the help, he's good enough. I
mean, Kevin, you just spent a week and a half with the Raptors. And look, when I was asking those guys, that's the nice way of saying, hey, people think LeBron's in your head. What did you learn about their mental strength? Because it seems to
It's a different vibe.
It's different, right?
And look, first of all, it's a different system. Like, they've just completely modernized their offense. They were the only team in the league, I believe, top 5 offense and defense this season. I don't think that's nothing. Like, I think that is important. They run 12 deep. They got Van Vliet back, and I know it sounds strange. Okay, a big deal, a backup point guard.
He was my vote for sixth man of the year.
That was the second most effective lineup in the league this year. But I think there's more trust. I mean, it was so interesting to watch sort of the Wizards. Hey, they would trap DeMar. You know what? DeMar willfully gave the ball up. He didn't pound it into submission and try to force things. I think Lowry's as steady a two-way point guard as there is in the league. Like, I'm more confident in them. I'm with Paul in the sense that there is this other variable that can't be quantified. That you can't even say, oh, okay, well, the Raptors have 8 of the best 9 players in this series, which, by the way, they might.
Right, but if they don't have the number
one.
That's
a slight to Kevin Love. I think he certainly belongs on that list. But the point is though, I do think that I don't want to hold the Raptors of 2018 responsible for the crimes of the Raptors of 2015. The fact that Paul's team swept them 4 years ago,
right.
Some remote April is somehow a testimony that they don't have the goods to deliver.
I don't know. That was a fun series when Paul's team swept them. I should correct myself, by the way.
Was that a sweep or that was 6 games?
No, that was sweep.
Oh, that was a sweep.
Yeah, it was bad. I should correct myself, by the way. It's been so long since the Clippers were on the floor. I forgot. I did vote for Lou Williams for 6th man of the year, but Van Vliet was my second pick. I think that he is.
Who did I have? I forget.
He is.
What about Eric Gordon?
Game changer.
Yeah, I had Gordon second. I had Gordon second. Van Vliet.
Because of what you're saying, he literally changes the game by what they allow you to roll with at those times your stars are off the floor. So I think it's going to be a really, really tough test for LeBron, but also we talk about this on the show all the time. I'm happy to be late in getting off the LeBron is the best player in the league train, right? Like, so if I don't get off that train until someone proves to me that he's not anymore, I'm okay with still riding the train.
And he will be, whether they win or lose this series. He will still be.
There you go. All right, I want to move on to the Thunder because it's just a huge story. They were eliminated on Friday night. Controversy in Game 6. Paul George appeared to be fouled by Rudy Gobert. It wasn't called, but the 2-minute report came out. They said it was correct. And also, you have to note, the Thunder had 12 zillion shots in that last possession.
They're still shooting.
So, I don't know. What does Paul George say about staying in Oklahoma City?
It's too soon. I would love to remain a Thunder, but that's what the summer is for. So we'll address that in the summer.
So interesting, because you hear that seems like he's wavering. You read the quotes in print, it seems stronger that he's leaning to OKC. He kept saying this was his first year with the Thunder. He kept talking about how much he liked it there. What do you think is going to happen? You know what, I think, based on what happened this year, when they brought this team together, they were considered a super team. You had the OK3. Yeah. And,
They definitely know they didn't fulfill expectations. To lose in the first round, to a team led by a rookie, it's just, you have to think about it. What is the upside for OKC moving forward? Okay, you're going to get Melo back, but is he going to take that role, a lesser role?
The upside for this is what Paul talked about in his press conference, and you guys can go through it. And you tell me, Paul, if you think this is enough. He said, look, this organization does check the boxes that you would want in free agency. He said, I feel good about management. I feel good about ownership. I feel good that we have another superstar on this team in Russell Westbrook. He noticeably did not mention Melo, which is interesting. But he said, look, that's the boxes you want when you're a free agent. I just don't know if seeing that it didn't quite work this year will matter.
The OKC has two things going for it. One is the money.
Right.
Second is the lack of...
So they can offer him more.
Right, they can offer him more, all things being equal.
Yeah.
And the second is the lack of appeal of other teams that have cap room right now. Like, there aren't a lot of great situations. I mean, the Lakers are the elephant in the room, right?
I was going to say, Paul grew up in L.A. What about his childhood team, the Lakers?
Yeah, exactly. A kid from L.A.,
right.
They have more room for improvement over the next 3-4 years. And then when you talk about the money that he'll lose in contract, he'll make up in endorsements being in L.A., and so I don't think that's the bottom line. So I know he's not looking at that. He's looking at, where can I be successful? Where, this is going to be his last big contract. Where can I raise a family? Can I go home, raise my family, be on a good team? Because he knows that the Lakers are not going to stay at the bottom forever. They're trying to get better right now. And if they can get a Paul George, then other free agents may follow. It's going to be a tough decision for him this summer because I just don't see the upside in OKC. How do they get better? Everybody's locked into their contracts. They have no potential.
Not just how do they get better. I'm actually worried about if they can tread water with the roster they have, and you're better at these cap mechanics than I am. We put up just on the screen about the money and Paul George in that situation. We also have the Carmelo Anthony situation. Look, this is how much money they would try to commit to Paul George. We'll talk in a minute about Melo, who is expected to opt in. You've got a bunch of money tied up in him. You're going to start having to make difficult decisions if you don't want to get into the repeater tax, right? For can you pay Steven Adams what he should be paid? Some of those other guys on the team that filled out the roster, maybe you can't do that, and then therefore, that team might be worse. And then here is Carmelo, and I just got to listen to this.
I'm not sacrificing no bench role, so that's out the question. As far as sacrificing, I don't even like to talk about finances and the economics of the game of basketball. When that time will come.
So this is interesting because he is not expected to turn down someone who's about to hand him $28 million. If for some reason he did, if he decided he wanted to go be a definite starter on another team, that would release money to be able to do what they would need to do to put a great team around Paul George and Russ. If he keeps it and he stays and they're that committed and he's possibly discontented about his role on the team, Paul, what do you expect? And should he be open to a bench role?
I think he should be open to anything. There's no question about it that Melo is a starter in this league. But is that the right fit? I started my last year in Washington. Then I came over to the Clippers. I had a pretty productive season in Washington. I came over to the Clippers. I felt like I was still a starter. But Doc just felt like that was a great fit for me to start with the unit they had out there. And so, it just comes a time where you're like, you could probably still start, but maybe you have to take a lesser role that's better for the team. And I think that'll be best for OKC. We bring Melo off the bench, and you could just say, hey, you could just be a scorer. Because it just showed in this series when Russ and Paul George is out there without Melo, they thrive.
Yeah, and I don't mean this as a loaded question, because it's going to sound like one. Can we identify something that Carmelo does particularly well at this point in his career?
Well, he's a great shooter. I mean, he can shoot the ball very well.
I mean, he's just not.
It's just that in this offense, he was forced. When he was older, he couldn't get by his man. He didn't get open opportunities. He was forced to play a lot of one-on-one basketball. If you get Melo open and you setting picks and he's that guy,
I was forced to
if he's that guy, if he gets the shots that Kyle Korver and J.R. Smith got to where he had a playmaker finding him in spots, he's a knockdown shooter. And that's no question about it. He's one of the best shooters this league has seen from three-point and in. It's just that he's forced to play a one-on-one game to where his one-on-one game isn't what it used to be.
Well, he said that in that same press conference that he wasn't comfortable being moved to the 4 and that it didn't let him play the game that he wanted to play. So it's interesting you talk about your move to the Clippers. Is there an argument, if you're one of Melo's friends, to say, hey, if you do move to the bench, you might be able to get into your more natural position and play the way you want to play?
That's a possibility. That's a discussion he has to have with Billy Donovan. They have to be on the same page. You can't go into camp next year and just this awkwardness if you call out the first 5 for practice and Melo's not in there.
Right.
This is something that has to be talked about all summer, and you have to explain to him why and what's going to be the purpose of it. But this is something that has to be talked about in the summer because he's going to opt in.
Can I ask you a question because it's fascinating to me? If he got 29 minutes a night and it's okay, he's not in the player introductions, why is it so important for a guy to play those first 6 minutes when there's 48 to go around? What is it symbolically about?
I'm going to tell you, for me, you've always been in that role. When you go to the bench, it's a different way to prepare. It's a different mentality. So when I went to the bench, it was just like I didn't know, how my nap was different. My lunch when I ate was different. When I prepared was different. Everything changes because maybe you come in at the 6-minute mark. Maybe you don't. And so your preparation changes and your mental changes. Like when you're starting, okay, I got to be ready at the start.
7:40, I'm
going to be here in the gym. I'm going to be here. And that's what he's been his whole life. So like that bench role, that's like shocking to a player. It shocked me. And it was just like I had to change my whole routine up and mentally prepare for that.
Well, I'm fascinated to see how this plays out because, again, if you look at the numbers for next year, the Thunder are carrying an extremely heavy payroll that will have to pay a lot of taxes for a team that this year could not get out of the first round. Is ownership going to want to do that again? Will they have to trim back some of the support for PG and Russ and Melo, and therefore maybe they will have less of a good chance for next year? And maybe the way to cut some of that money, do you think Sam Presti says to Billy Donovan, no, tell him he has to come off the bench and make him kind of pull Phil Jackson, make him so upset that he wants to walk away?
Managements do have ways of sort of inducing the decision they want a player to make or employee to make. Look, Presti's been a pretty creative deal maker. Yeah, Presti's been a very creative deal maker and is great. Hey, no one had Paul George going there. They kind of pulled it out of their hat. So, I do like him to figure out the spreadsheet mechanics that are required to make everybody happy. But the Melo thing's huge. I can't imagine him walking away from that option.
Right. That's a lot of money. Here's what the Jump recommends. I want to head back out east to discuss the two teams who have some interesting personnel decisions to make this offseason. We're going to start with the Bucks, guys, because I want to hear your thoughts, Paul, on Milwaukee's season. They were technically the lower seed, who lost a Game 7 on the road against your Celtics, but I don't know. It sure felt like they missed an opportunity to take down a team that has so many injuries.
What do they need to do? I think they need to trade Jabari Parker, truthfully. I think him and Giannis play the same position, and, there's just not enough shooting between these two. Giannis is a clear franchise player who needs shooters around him. Now, Jabari is a talented player. I think, he's not a bench player, which is the role he's been playing. I think they need to find some value in him, try to get some more shooters around Giannis, possibly maybe an all-star caliber player if you can. When you give up a young player like Jabari, maybe you can nab something like that. But I honestly believe they should looking to trade him to try to improve their roster.
They need to systematize their offense, systematize their defense. They cannot just merely freelance. There's not enough shooting on the floor. And this should be a top 5 defense. Look at that length.
I know, it's
remarkable. They tried leveraging pressure early in the season. It didn't really work. They've got to leverage that length.
But this is all going to come from whatever coach they bring in, right? I
Yes.
mean, they haven't officially said it, but it seems like Joe Prenti will not get that job, and they will bring someone else in. And I think that'll be a big thing for management to say, okay, what system are you going to bring in? How are you going to maximize Giannis better? And Paul, certainly there are a lot of people in your camp that maybe you make a roster change with Parker and could bring you in something else. So.
I really believe that.
I also like Brogdon as the game manager, not Bledsoe.
Yeah, that's something you said. All right, the other team I alluded to off the top, the Washington Wizards, lost in 6. John Wall had a very interesting session with the media. I can only imagine it was just as interesting when he went to talk to the front office the same day. He said, quote, "We got to talk about which guys can stay and which guys can go." Also, he said, "Our problem is that a lot of times guys don't understand their role and respect their role." Did not mention Marcin Gortat by name, but I It's hard not to read between the lines there. What do you, I mean, Paul, what do you think? First of all, you've been in that locker room. What do you think of John speaking his mind?
I love the fact that he came out. A leader should say that. I mean, obviously, John is a superstar. He's a superstar point guard. Guys need to know their role. Obviously, this is Bradley Beal and John's team. They're the all-stars. So I respect him coming out and say that. I'm sure he probably said it to a number of guys throughout the season. Like, when you see guys who want more than their role and it doesn't work out for the team, then, you know, as a leader, you should speak on it. And I respect John for that.
You know, we never talk about them the way we used to talk about the Clippers, right? Here's a team with 3 max guys who've never passed, you know, the second round of the playoffs. You cannot identify which one of those 3 is a problem because they all have really great skills, and yet it just somehow doesn't come out of the oven right every season. And we never have that, do you blow it up in Washington?
You love, by the way, you love to compare that the Clippers seem to get talked about this that way and no other teams do.
No, I don't mean like from a persecution.
With the Raptors and with the other teams.
No, but I mean, look, whether to continue on a path or not is the great question a franchise has to make, and we haven't had that conversation of, like, do you trade Beal or Porter?
Well, we've talked about that a little bit. I think if they hadn't won any of these playoff games, right, when they got kind of blown off the floor in the first 2 games, we were all like, I don't know, then do you have to look at questions about the franchise? I think they earned, with the 2 wins they had in the playoffs, the idea that the core of that team can work, but it's the other guys on the team.
You know what? I think you do keep the all-stars together. You have to build, like, look at Toronto. They have their 2 all-stars. They kept them together and they continued to build around them and got deeper. That's what Washington has to do. They have to get more depth. They had Bogdanovich last year, was huge for them, that came off the bench. They didn't have that reliable guy off the bench this year. It's supposed to be Kelly Oubre, however you want to say. Oubre, that's right. That's my Kansas guy. I should know that. But they need to add more depth around these guys. Maybe mix in a few starters, trade a couple starters, but they definitely need to keep the core together because they could be on the right path. They're just a little bit of tweaking, that's all.
I want to clarify, I like continuity. I was glad the Toronto Raptors kept it together.
You feel like you defend the Clippers, and
But, you know, he's right. I mean, Toronto is the model, right? Like, first of all, it would be helpful if they drafted and developed some guys.
Yes.
You know, Oubre's been nice, but they need to do more of that as a la Toronto.
Well, John also said to the media that when he had his exit meeting with management, he was very specific about roster modernization, getting them more of those athletic wings and things like that teams that they're getting beaten by have. So we will see what happens there. Coming up, do the Celtics have enough warm bodies to beat the Sixers? Another injury on that roster. We will tell you all about that next. This is our distant replay, though, from the year 1991. Again, we're all living in 1991 this year, but this date...
Greatest playoff series in NBA history. 3 of the 7 games decided by 2 points, 2 decided by 1 point, and the Celtics rallied from down 3 games to 1 to win. And in '82, even though the Sixers won a blowout Game 7 at the Garden, something epic, something eternal happened down the stretch with the Sixers and not their own team headed to the finals against the Lakers. With their season all but over, Boston fans began chanting instructions to the Sixers players. Because of how the playoffs were restructured, they have not met for a trip to the finals since 1985, a Boston blowout in 5. Oh yeah, one only clinched when Larry Bird stole the ball.
Larry Bird with a big steal. It is over.
Nevertheless, the playoff rivalry has continued through the generations. Allen Iverson
Falling away. Puts it in.
winning Game 4 in the first round in 2002 with 23 seconds left to force a decisive Game 5, in which the Celtics hit a record 9 threes in the fourth, Paul Pierce going for 46. And a decade later, with Pierce still in full flower and joined by Rondo and KG, the Celtics again needed 7 to hold off Iguodala and Holiday in a conference semi in which neither Boston nor Philly won 2 in a row. And now new generations of Celts and Sixers, today's generations, will step into the living history of Russell and the Joneses against Wilt, and Cowens against Dr. J, Bird against Moses Malone, and KG and Antoine Walker and Iverson and Iguodala and even Pete Maravich trotting these boards, and the winner always comes out tougher. But in the great secret of this rivalry, the loser always comes out changed. The last game Philly played before they blew it up and traded away Wilt, they lost to Boston in '68. The last game Boston played before they stepped it up and traded for Bill Russell, they lost to the pre-Sixer Nats in '56. The last game Philly played before they tore it down and helped trigger the process, they lost to the Celtics in 2012. Celtics, Sixers. It'll do that to you.
Shout out Keith Olbermann. That was incredible. I love that piece. Shout out to Paul, who was in that piece. Shout out to Allen Iverson, because Allen Iverson's awesome. They tip off game 1. Latest chapter in just a few hours. Jaylen Brown is doubtful, guys, with a grade 1 hamstring, because why not have the degree of difficulty raised on the Celtics even more? Does Boston have enough?
I don't think they have enough. Jaylen Brown would have been a key piece for them. He's their best defender. He's been their best offensive player in the playoffs, and that's just another blow for Boston. It's going to be a shame, because this is the future of the East. Boston.
This rivalry is going to be so good.
It's back.
I don't think they have enough either, but if there's one team that has the resourcefulness defensively to kind of figure things out, I mean, they're going to give the Sixers a run. Just defensively.
Oh, yeah, it'll still be a six.
The Celtics all season have been saying they're like the Monty Python team, where they keep chopping off like the arms and the knight and the legs, and he's like, I still got you.
Wait, who said that?
Like that. The Black Knight. I keep thinking
that's who
that
you say.
compromise.
Okay.
All right, that's all from LA. Sports Nation is next. Enjoy Sixers Celtics tonight. See you guys.
See y'all.